Hi there, welcome to Yarnchix Podcast Episode 63. It's me, Mimi. I am recording from Berlin, Wedding. And yeah, I have lots of knitting and I have some crochet. Woolly treats, definitely. There is finished items. I think I have 3 things that I want to show you. And in general, it is a lot of admin-y chat, so I hope you don't mind. I have to kind of catch you up on some things. So welcome to this corner of YouTube. Just seen a little bit of a visual overview of things to come. Most excitedly, at the end there will be a knit reportage, and I'm sharing some glimpses of my trip to Rotterdam, which was already 2 weekends ago. It was so lovely to see my friend Lieke and Louisa, and then to meet up with lots more friends at a pub on Saturday evening, and by chance also other friends had time or couldn't join that evening, but I kind of met up with people on my last day, which is the Monday. And yeah, it was just a great trip. I even managed to squeeze in a very short visit to Stephen and Penelope in Amsterdam. So at the very end you will see my knit reportage with all this footage. For now, yeah. Welcome here. My name is Mimi again, and I have an Instagram called LiebWed, which is the abbreviations Lieb from Liebes and Wed from Wedding, which is Dear Wedding or Love Wedding, and that is a declaration of care and endearment to the area that I live in here in Berlin. I live on a very busy road, so you will always hear those sounds. I hope you don't mind about the noises in the background. It's Sunday. I have had a really great weekend so far already, and did a mending workshop yesterday. Well, a sashiko workshop where we made a patch and then got to add it to one of our garments. So I made this sashiko patch from a little square of jean fabric that the workshop leader Keiko had brought along, and then we even managed in that time, I think I made the last blanket stitch just as it was like everybody was packing up, to add it to one of our broken things. It's a pair of jeans that my teenager really loves and asked me to mend about 5 months ago, and I haven't started. I just had all these pins in it, so I'm kind of happy that this is like the first patch I made. The same area on the other leg has also some wear already. So I will put some fabric behind it and do the same pattern on top. So there's a bit of a kind of mirroring effect. And yeah, I have these pockets to fix at the top, and then a tear in the crotch zone, which is kind of, you know, your usual jeans wear area. So that's actually only 1 out of 5 areas that I've mended, but I'm really pleased, and I got to hang with my friend Zara, and we both sat together and stitched, which helped us calm down, because obviously it, and then the camera cut out. Okay, that was a short mending glimpse, because I'm very proud I did that yesterday. I'm also very proud of our community for wrapping up Lino Mkal Knit Along. This year I finished 2 items. The Taro Tee, which was the featured design by Kiyomi B. And you can tell my little... Hi camera, don't blow out like crazy. My little dye lot issue. Never mind, it's a learning curve. And I finished the pom top, which was a design from the pom pom fruit issue. And it was designed for Lino Mkal held double at this really loose gauge. And I'm really happy I finished those 2. I still have 2 projects on the needle. You hear me talk about these lots in episodes 60, 61 and 62 of Yarnchix Podcast. You are always invited to go back. Some links provided. And I'm glad I got to draw a winner via an Instagram live. It was a really fun way of having a podcast, but in the moment, in the spare of the moment. I like doing those, but I hadn't done one in about half a year, so it was really nice to do that. And the winning project was a Minton bag. It was even finished, because at Lino Mkal Knit Along, all posts, like all progress, or even knit ideas, even when you first buy your yarn and you're like, what am I gonna make? All those posts qualify, and then I will draw an overall winner. I have a list of, I think, 167 entries, which was a lot, and I hand wrote the list for the live. I might show this later when I go back into my whips, because there's still some Lino Mkal works in progress. And the Minton bag that was made by Gesine is actually finished. Gesine is Wollwind on Instagram, and yeah, she made the Minton bag, also a pom magazine pattern by the designer Isa Katipilan, and it's so nice. I also made one in orange, I think 2 or 3 years ago in the Lino Mkal Knit Along, and so I was really pleased to see that. Actually, there was 3 of those Minton bags at our party when we had the big summer party this July. And yeah, we sat together. I have a picture. I might try and find it. I don't know, but I definitely took pictures of Gesine's Minton bag as well. Michaela had brought her Minton bag as well. So there was 3 of us with Minton bags at the party. So that is one thing that's finished. The other thing that's starting up is Stash Rent, which is our swap. So from the moment I publish this podcast, you are able to sign up for our annual stash busting swap, where we make countdown calendars from our stash. We kind of create minis, which means you can open a really lovely new skein and just wind a mini of 10 grams. Or you can like share some of the minis that you know, got in an advent calendar that weren't your colors, or yeah, you create minis for a countdown calendar for someone personally, which is so cool, because there's a form that gets filled out, and the person who makes the calendar for you will find out what kind of colors you love, what materials you love, maybe what you dream to make, what celebration you want the countdown for, because we celebrate all sorts of December, January, celebrations. So if you are Christian, that might be Advent, and so then it would be like a Christmas countdown. But if you're Jewish, we are also celebrating Hanukkah. Then if you want to not really commit to a religion, but you want to celebrate the turn of the year, then we have a New Year's Eve calendar. And I know that there's also other celebrations around that period that would be welcome to join in, to be celebrated with a personalized countdown calendar. The swap is not like one person gives and receives from the same person that they're giving to, but it's like a circular swap. So you give to someone and they give to someone else. In the past, we've always had around 40 to 50 sign-ups, and I wonder how it will be this year. I'm a little bit late, and I know there is other scrap using Advent calendar swaps out there. So if you've signed up, don't worry, like there's no competition. But I would be really, really, really happy if you were to join. This year, we're going to do it a little bit different because, to be honest, it's quite a lot of work. And I want to just also share like the value of it, because some people might sign up and think, oh, now I have all this work, and then be overwhelmed. So if the sign up costs 10 euros, which would be like 2 to 3 coffees, depending on your wallet, you can buy me a coffee via my coffee link provided in the box below. And then I will send you this registration form. You can also message me on Instagram or comment here, and I will get the form to you. We will find a way because I have PayPal and I have Ko-fi and there is Patreon, and you know, there's different ways to kind of say, okay, I appreciate you doing this work, Mimi, so I want to join this swap and I understand the commitment. So I think 10 euros is a great level, especially because I imagine some people might drop out and not sign up because now it costs. So it would only be kind of meeting there. And I have had so much fun, and I've made so many beautiful makes in the past from it. Feel free to search the hashtag like this, StashVent 2020, 2021, 2022, or 2023, which will be us now, to see what stuff has been made from these swaps, what yarns have been given, how cool they've been styled. I really, really appreciate this community and how much effort we put into these personalized countdown calendars. And please, please be considerate of all the celebrations that can happen in the season, well, in the winter in here. So it'll be December, January celebrations. I'm excited. I'm really happy that I start this. And now I want to have some fun and show you some nice finished objects. The first finished object is actually a pair of socks that I knit this summer. I just realized that because I didn't record it all in September, I have this really big gap of showing you things, but also I haven't really finished much, so it's kind of great that this is a reminder of my summer holiday by the lake, where I was knitting alongside friends in the Dice Magic Sock Along. I got a bit control freakish, so decided I would use this pattern. It's called the Patchworkquilt Sock by Derako, who is Knit Tail on Ravelry, because I liked rolling the dice for these color works. Like, so I rolled the dice for the contrasting colors here, and I didn't roll a dice for the amount of rows to knit from that color, but I just followed the chart. So in this part, then I rolled the dice for the contrast color and did this for both the socks. And in the last part here, and this was the first one I knitted, I did roll the dice for how many rows and what color to use for these stripes. So that's why it's this kind of multicolored stripe. And I used one color as the main color till the toe. And then rolled the dice for the color of the toe cast off, which I then used again for the second sock, where the main color is this. So the first sock, the main color was this purple, and the second sock, it was this minty green. And yeah, I really love them. They're extremely colourful and scrapalicious. I used lots of my stash vent yarns, leftovers, as well as other presents that I was given by my friend Zara, who had initiated this magic dice along, and there was quite a few of us making them. I think Nana's on pair 3, using the same method in another project with the dice. Where have I put it? Oh my god, I've spread all out. Hang on. So from finished object magic dice throwing, I'm now using the leftovers from that to magic dice make a baby surprise cardigan. And it's at this point where it looks like a really freaky funny shape, and I have already sewn in some ends, because that's the thing with this like magic color mixing, you have a lot of ends to sew in. So I did these first ones and I will cut them off after blocking, but I haven't done the recent striping. I really like how it's kind of randomized the striping, and now I'm at this point where I don't understand what I'm doing, so I have to ask a friend who's knitted the baby surprise cardigan what to do. But yeah, once I've worked out what to do, I will carry on. And I just love magical dice throwing stripes. This will become a baby cardigan, and I will make some other baby things. Like I think I'm making a bonnet and a little toy for the other make along. Oh my god, she's a make along crazy person. So the other make along that's running, and we extended until 1st of December because I was in a bit of a state of overwhelm. More about that in a minute. But I couldn't like finish Lina Muka knit along, finish Magic 3 make along, and start Stash Vent. I was just like, oh my god, too many admin-y things at once. Still, they're still running. It's still happening. So we're making magical 3 items for people that are small, like kids, our children, or children of our friends or relatives, or maybe even children we do not know, by gifting these things. Then you can make these sets, but you can split them up. We've had that in the past, and the idea is to make a top, some bottoms, a toy or accessory, and you're completely free creatively as to how you want to interpret what is a toy, what is a top, is a bottom. We've had socks for bottoms, we've had bloomers for bottoms, we've had shorts, we've had all sorts of things, and all crafts are also welcome. There's so many beautiful makes again, and I think we all might benefit from a little bit more time, because I feel always in a little bit of a rush. I feel like right now I'm also rushing through this because I haven't got much time, but I will record till I've run out of time, go on a mission, and then come back and carry on recording. So that I can slow down now. Okay, slow down, Mimi. Magic 3 Mile means I have all these dreams of what I want to make, and I didn't get very far. However, I finished a toy, so that is the second finished item. Again, it reminds me of the summer holiday. Meet Aggie the sheep, who's called Gary. This is Gary the sheep with a cool, like, crop top, fuzzy vest, her faux leather bag, and yeah, I added this funny button which came off my cardigan when I mended it, and I was like, oh, I think Aggie would appreciate this little snowflake as her button. And yeah, and I made a dress from another pattern. It's the squirrel's dress, because I wasn't sure if I have enough of this cream color, and Aggie usually has a cream color like grid dress, which, you know, I might make that for the squirrel. Yeah, and I really enjoyed making Aggie chic. I love the shaping. I added these glass eyes that were a present from Cinthia herself for Magic 3 Mile make along end prize. She sponsored a prize for a crafter and sent me some of these eyes years ago, and I really love that about our community. It's been a long-standing cool crew, and yeah, not every year everybody manages to make stuff, or not every year everybody manages to sponsor me, but I would really appreciate more sponsorships for our final prize, because we always draw a winner from all the finished sets. That's definitely something where you have to add Magic 3 Mal flat lay so that we can find it, and then you qualify for one of the prizes, because in this case it is about the finished flat lays of the items, and we make flat lays so that we can make sure that our children aren't in social media. If in the future they might not want to see those pictures of themselves, so it's a flat lay, so it's very neutral. You just pop things on the table, take a picture from top down, and yeah. And so nice, like these two accompanied me throughout my summer holiday. So I'm happy to see these projects again now by filming. So, and as Aggie Sheep was finished, and I was like a bit sad because I really loved the book Moosh and Friends by Cinthia Vallet, who is from Cinthia. I really love the book. I was like, I want to carry on. So yes, I did cast on using a leftover from my Shawlography Mkal shawl. It's an Exmoor sock in this coppery red. And I got as far as this. Sorry, it looks very spooky. It's just a head, and it's got these like markers in. It's spooky season anyway, so markers for where I'm meant to put the glass eyes, but I have none in this size, so I'm like crazy sourcing them. I might have to like go to a button shop in Berlin. I've convinced my boss that we should bulk order, because it's so great to have these beautiful things ready for people who come and buy the book in our shop, because I work in a yarn shop, so we sell this book. Sorry if I haven't said that before. Yeah, I've recommended we should actually stock this kind of, these eyeballs. We should stock some eyeballs. It's spooky season. Why not? And yeah, so I started, and now I'm on hold because I need to create the face and I need the eyeballs, and then I can continue. Also, I realized the squirrel has like a whole, let me show you. Obviously, when you make the squirrel, you make almost like a whole other body part, which is, the tail. Let me see if there is. No, also in this case, the same picture. You kind of see the tail poking out, but it's a whole nother body. And my leftovers weren't gonna be enough. I had 12 grams, and Cinthia says we need 20 grams. So I bought another skein. Yeah, these are 50 grams. So you need about half a skein of Exmoor sock. Luckily, it's October, and we are stocking Exmoor sock as our sock yarn special at Vollen. And just before we sold out, I quickly snagged one. I actually snagged quite a lot, so you will see in a minute or later on, I will share some acquisitions. This isn't the only Exmoor sock I bought. I'm a huge fan of this yarn. I really loved knitting it in the Shawlography shawl, and I knew I needed more for this squirrel, so I kind of just was like, no, I would be sad if I ran out, and yeah. Sometimes using your stash leads to more acquisitions. Okay, I'm back. So I've been to the garden and I brought a little dahlia along and some mint for tea. So this is the second part, basically. I think I would have just shown you some of the finished objects because I have got some footage of a finished object that's missing in action because I've gifted it a friend. And it's the Foster Hood by Fabienne Gassman. I really like that pattern. It was originally in the Making Stories Campfire publication issue. I think it's issue number 7 or 8 of the Making Stories magazine. And I think Fabienne might bring it out as a single as a freestanding pattern, so that it'll be available for purchase sometime in October. And I really had lots of fun. I knitted it with orange yarn and I learned how to do intarsia, like a little circle on the top. So if I haven't shared the footage yet, here it is. And otherwise, yeah, that's quite a lot of smaller items that I finished. I need to show you what I'm still working on. I am still Lino Mkal knitting. Yes, I haven't completed all my projects. This is Kuutar tee, top down, round, like circular yoke lace pattern by Sari Nordlund. There is quite a lot of tops in the Kuutar group. So Kuutar means goddess of the moon, and I came up with all these really beautiful lace patterns. It was so much fun to knit this lace chart. It was really potato chippy. I had an extreme amount of fun, but I have been struggling through the stockinette. I was around like 2 centimeters in when I traveled to Rotterdam. So I have made a lot of progress, mainly because my friends in Rotterdam, Meerte and Hannah, so they came along to the knit night alongside. We were a great group. Madeline was there, Janine. It was just so nice that we were all sitting together. Geraldine also showed up, who has knitted a lot of Lino Mkal this summer. And I met Floor for the first time from the Bier and Brian group. Marietta was there, as well as Marijke, who's Ribbles on Instagram. I always think of her as Ribbles. So I'm like, no. Marijke has a proper name. And yeah, and so we sat together and Meerte gave me this progress keeper because Hannah and Meerte are really convinced that if you put a progress keeper and then every time you kind of have an occasion, like you go to knit night or you sit on a train, then you just add a new one, and like that with the progress keepers it kind of spurs you on. And Hannah also told me, why don't you knit half an hour on this and then half an hour on whatever new project you're dreaming about. That has really helped. So I always try and pick up this first. So much so that I've got literally like 4 rounds left of stockinette, and then I can do the ribbing. So I was kind of hoping I would get to that bit before recording the podcast, but then who are we fooling? I mean, I can't just keep knitting just so that I can podcast. I also want to podcast so I can carry on knitting. And yeah, so it looks pretty long now. I tried it on at a point where it was a bit revealing, and then I was like, no, just stick to whatever the pattern says. So I'm going to stick to whatever the pattern says for size 5, and then afterwards I will just add ribbing for the sleeves. So that should be like a short amount of work. I don't want to do the sleeve. I don't want to do a sleeve. I want to just do a half sleeve. Normally you would knit to about like here and then do a cast off, but I kind of want it with these really short sleeves. And it's Lino Mkal in the golden brown colorway. A beautiful colorway of our Vollen Berlin in-house yarn. The whole project lives in this project bag that Uta made me especially, and I really love it. which is really great sewist and friend here in Berlin. So I'm excited to, now that I have recorded the podcast, plow on and finish this, as well as start wearing my socks, because I've refrained from wearing these. I'm gonna really look forward to wear these. I like the low ankle, and I want to try out wearing these. I might knit more, because October I might knit more short-legged shorty socks. And the other work in progress, also still Linen Mocha, is this. It's the overprint bag by a designer called Julia. I'm gonna add the full handle or name here because I can only remember they're called Julia. And yeah, I have previously shown you the stack of squares, and now I have finished one of the side panels, and I need to make another identical one, and then the top edging, and then some straps. So still a way to go, but yeah, kind of excited. It looks nice next to this dahlia. I think it would be a really, really cool bag and project bag. So when I was in Rotterdam, I treated myself to a Suzanne Bijl bag, and they have these really cool like patterned ones that you just kind of put over your arm. And I saw so many people in Rotterdam with those bags, and then I realized actually I'm making myself a bag that then can be carried a lot like these Suzanne Bijl bags. So I didn't buy one in that shape in the end, and I think actually I should make this, complete it, and be proud of my like fine gauge crochet effort this summer. It's been a real push. And because I've like completely been in this Linen Mocha crafting world, I guess still also have a parachute project and this crochet project and the t-shirt, and I was like, oh my god, I've been mainly doing that apart from the socks and the Aggie sheep. I've been mainly doing that all summer and since April. And well, it's time for some woolly wool or some other fabrics to travel through my hands. So I did cast something on, which I will show you in a minute. Let me recap. I always make these little like running orders, and I just realized I've just kind of went straight in after coming back from the garden, and I didn't check my running order. I have spoken about Magic 3 Mile, how I'm extending that deadline, and about the parachute that I'm knitting from Linen Mocha, which is actually part of the Magic 3 Mile projects. I might or might not complete that this year, but it's still like a project that I'm still knitting. I'm not going to show that because I have so many projects I wanted to show you. I might actually keep some of them back and just record again very soon. Famous, take note of that. She wants to record a second episode in October. Will I manage? Yeah, and the other... Yeah, but I know what I wanted to show you. I wanted to show you my newest zine. This is for you. It's all about caring for yourself, and I've realized like gardening and my community in the garden has a lot to do with what is for me in my day-to-day of going there and kind of being involved. I made a really cool neon inlet this time, and there's a centerfold by Marie. And a really nice interview, which I really enjoyed finally putting into print, because it was in the digital version, with Vibeke of the Knit Pearl, and mostly knitting podcast. That's it. I really like Vibeke's take on what knitting means to her. And yeah, there's quite a lot of mending and like DIY costumes, so head on over to my Etsy shop if you haven't yet, and yeah, support this little artist in her self-publishing journey. So I would be happy if you purchase my zine today. I have also purchased myself some books. So I don't know, this week Embroidery on Knits was released. A book by Judith Gumlich. And yeah, I really like Judith's style. It's very, you would have seen some of her embroidery work maybe if you visited Edinburgh Yarn Festival alongside me years ago. Like Judith was one of the people who was like walking around in her beautiful cardigan, and people would just like go swoon over it. Hence Judith ended up making this book, and it's a super inspiring read. I really enjoy, and I really congratulate Judith on this achievement. Alongside Cinthia, it's definitely one of the books that I was happy to purchase. I purchased at work. And what I did was I sold all my previous Line issues because I kind of disagree with the Line magazine itself, but I then used that money to purchase new books. So I feel like that kind of made my double standard maybe a little bit okay. I don't know, but I really wanted to have Judith's book and I wanted to have Cynthia's book. And I feel good owning those books because I know how much work went into those. And I feel good not owning the Line magazines anymore because I wasn't gonna knit anything from them after like all these years of having them. So I kind of used eBay to kind of make that money back. So, Solution-based knitting dilemmas solved. No. A knitter's value dilemma solved through repurposing funds. And there's another dilemma I'm like severely like in that might be recognized by others. I was gonna knit alongside everyone else in the Mystery Knit Along by Stephen West, which I've done in the past years, and I chose these colors. So all from Stash apart from this one, which was, well, half from Stash basically. This top one was a win from the tombola at my summer knit night, the Liebeswedding Strict event. We had a big tombola where we made 1,030 euros for Sea-Watch crew, which was amazing. Thanks to Zara's huge effort. Her whole family pulled in. It was the whole group pulled in with donating lots of things to be like auctioned off, which was like a raffle. Basically, people could buy raffles. And I ended up actually buying, I think, 5 tickets, and 5 tickets won me something. I was super lucky in this raffle, including this skein of Garn Stories. It's like very speckly. Then from Stash, I have this Tweedy Studio Mez, and then the other two were gifts and a purchase. So Kitskan, Nora gifted me this Peng, this neon, which I wanted. It's actually one of the yarns I tried to buy from Stephen and Penelope, but then didn't find anything, didn't feel comfortable in shopping, and basically ended up going, no, I'm like gonna wait. And then Nora said, well, I was gonna give you this Straßenkreide neon single as a present anyway, so here you go. So I got this, and then I used some of my Stash neons to kind of add, because I wanted to use up some of my Stash Rent neons that I had in this, and I purchased more Exmoor sock. Yes, I've been so happy about Exmoor sock in the shop that I purchased like quite a lot. And I swatched in this garter. I'm kind of happy with this swatch. I think the colors are cool. Again, I used a 3mm because I like knitting at a tighter gauge than Mr. Westknits. And then I saw the first clue. And as much as I love like knitting mysterious clues and this whole like gift to myself of like every week something new and a surprise, I'm definitely gonna not knit it. I felt like maybe I will adjust it And you might have seen the first clues and you might be as confused as me. But also you might be thinking, but it's so pretty. But it is definitely not pretty because it's a hate symbol that can be recognized in the shape and in the pattern. And I feel strongly about people not checking the privilege of like having this blind spot, A, and B, I'm like super surprised because I wonder what Steven's bubble is like, because there is test knitters, and obviously I was in the shop and I saw he has a lot of staff and he has team members, and I'm just like, oh, this all seems like they didn't say anything. And with like the situation of just being so hyper aware and then realizing other people aren't, when it comes to like knitting and community with people who are saying, but it's so pretty, or who are saying like, oh, this is just cancel culture, people are just highly sensitive. I'm like, no, you know what, this shawl will walk the streets. Like, people will knit it and they will walk around, and you know, in Berlin they might walk past like a synagogue or in a city, and you know, it's just like, oh, it is, for me, I'm not gonna knit it. And I am extremely glad that the first clue was like taken out, it was like deleted, and there was a change, and I think all that is good, and the awareness, but it was like late. I think the topic is like maybe reparations, or just like, you know, education, self-education, and I am like by far not perfect. Like, I definitely know that I you know, need to learn a lot, and will continue to learn a lot at a better pace now that I've been reminded, like, look, there's these blind spots in our community, and aren't we like meant to like be aware that we don't create harmful things? Anyway, not anyway, like the main way is to check our privileges. And I was like, not happy, really not happy with that design. And there will always be people who are saying like, nah, just people are being so like, this is overreacting. I was like, no, not possible. I was spinning ideas with Dea of Pru Yarns, who's like knitting an alternative versions, and then I saw other people have shared alternative versions, and there's this whole thing of people being aware and like changing things up, but there's the other side, and you just reading the comments, you're like, oh my god, like, people whinging about like having spoiled their yarn because now they have these small bits, because they obviously raised ahead and started knitting it and not seeing what maybe other people are seeing and saying, oh, come on, let's not be so. I'm like, oh, I don't want to be part of that. I really don't want to be part of that. So hence I've got these yarns and I've got the swatch, but I will like keep it and do something else with it. I might come up with like other things, or another project of maybe, you know, there's so many designers out there, maybe we can all knit a shawl from those treats that comes from someone else for now, and then I don't know. I did find something at Stephen and Penelope that I wanted to show you, because yes, finally this is published, and it's something I had to learn about myself, which was that these cats by Fumi on Instagram, and their name is Fumiko Nakao, and they Fumiko made this design now available through the Life in the Long Grass publication, called, it's like an Irish publication, and this is themed something about Into the Cabins, or Into the Hills, that's it, is the theme. And I'm super excited to knit one of these owls or a cat. And it was something that I learned because in my zine I was gonna share a cat pattern very similar to this, because I was inspired by a post by Fumi, and I just kind of went ahead and wrote it all down. I made my cats and also sold some of the cats, and then I was like, oh my god, someone else has made this. So I wrote Fumi, and Fumi said they're publishing with Life in the Long Grass. So I took the pattern out of my zine because I didn't want to make money with a pattern that was so clearly inspired by someone else's. Made me reflect kind of my own, like, the way I use Instagram and look at pictures and then go and I'm inspired by them, maybe not know to what extent. And then I created something that I was sharing as if I'd come up with it, and I was like, I really don't feel comfortable with this anymore, and I apologize. Like, I really apologize for this confusing me way of making these pocket cats and then going, yeah, and they're like really sweet little things, and you stuff them with lavender and you can have them in your pocket. And then I see, oh, somebody else is also using rustic yarns like this, and like, oh, I think that's where I first saw it. And it's really important to teach myself to be more aware of what my inspirations are and who to credit for them. So I can now credit Fumiko by knitting one of these following the instructions in this book. And I highly recommend you purchase this magazine or support Fumi's design in whatever way Fumiko's design comes to you. I'm happy to now own the magazine and that I found it at Stephen and Penelope. We went to Crescent Woods the day before, which is a beautiful yarn store in Den Haag. Highly recommend. And I picked up this Biche et Bûche Le Petit Lambswool. Le Petit Lambswool. It's actually really loosely spun. Reminds me very, very much of Spindrift, which, you know, it might be actually spun up in Scotland. Yes, it is pure lambswool from Scotland. Family owned fibre mill. It was quite pricey, but I fell in love with this purple. And then I found another kind of mini skein at Stephen and Penelope, which is Room of My Own Susan Crawford collection color. And I really like how it's like variegated sock yarn, which is hand dyed in the Lancashire Hills. And I'm using them both as souvenir yarns, which I'm currently collecting, always kind of contrasting colours or paired colours as souvenir yarns to knit Paul Klee sweater by Midori Hirose. So this is another purchase from my trip to Rotterdam. Yeah, I like pale purples and I like this really light, low contrast. What else did I buy? I bought some Sashiko kind of finger protectors, so really great that now I had this workshop and that book and another book which was purchased at Melly. They have a bookshop in this Institute for Contemporary Art. It's an exhibition space and we saw really, really great exhibitions there. And the bookshop is fabulous. I will obviously include it in the knit-reportage, and purchase this book about making matches, a vocabulary for collective arts, which I'm super interested about. Actually, community and crafting, it's like my two things, plus mending. So I hope this will teach me a lot more teach me more about my own path and community in making and mending, and realizing kind of where my focus is in that. So yeah, I'm really happy and excited to read this book. I haven't read it yet. I haven't even started. I've just kind of gone, ooh, it's a nice format. I like the colors. It's a bit of a shame that it's printed pale. Some of the colors are quite pale, so low contrast, and the writing's quite small, but I absolutely love this kind of very Riso style, you know, from my, I don't know where I put this in here. From my cover, you might realize that I'm extremely into print. Like, Riso is, I love it. Like, really love creating layers with inky printing. And another book I wanted to show you is Yellow Face, and I have just finished this. We will meet with the book club next week, and I can't wait to talk about this more. It's actually a really fabulous book to read about a character that is so... Okay, you're gonna hate the main character. If you're gonna love to hate the person's perspective out of which this book is written about, and it's about basically an author who is like friends with another author who's really successful, and they then in a mysterious way, like, or in a really kind of awkward way, end up the successful author ends up dying, and this author ends up stealing a manuscript. And this whole topic of plagiatism, oh my god, is that how you say the word? About this kind of theft, and about the kind of racist and very specific way literature like works, and the whole like selling, and whoa, it's dark in the best way, because it feels like this writer, it's by Rebecca F. Kuang, who wrote more kind of, do you say sci-fi, or more fantasy books, like with Babel, and what was the other book? The other book's The Poppy War, or Dragon Republic, Burning God. So there's 4 books, and this is the 5th book by Rebecca F. Kuang, and I definitely am now intrigued to go back and read Babel, which I have not yet read, admittingly. So I'm very excited to read more with this person's creativity in the background. I know they're very different books, but I really enjoyed, and I recommend this. I definitely learned a lot. And yeah, so that is like my book. God, I did share a book. Well, not really a review, a little book chat. What else? Usually at the end of my podcast, I always have a tarot knit oracle. And I think I want to have like a bit of a general card, maybe because I'm still a bit upset or disturbed by this whole Mkal start, which I think it's good it started and stopped in a way for me, but I want to draw a card considering the situation, just like as a like how will my choice, like now not to knit it, how is that, where's that gonna, is it a good I want to ask the cards about the mystery knit along. I just want to ask about it and just see what the cards say, because it's always like a nice new perspective to look at a problem with a tarot card. So the Knit Tarot Oracle is considering the Mystery Knit Along by Stephen West. And then you will see the knit-reportage, which is all about traveling to Rotterdam. There's some glimpses of my friends and of the different shops I visited. And I hope this podcast wasn't too long and I managed to edit it and make it kind of stick these 2 parts together in some way. Thank you so much for spending time with me. I hope it wasn't too choppy, that you enjoyed my thoughts, topics, my mends and my makes. I have lots more to show, including a bralette, a fixed dress, and the parachute for the Magic 3 Mile set for my own child, which I will share in another podcast. I'm just happy I managed to record today between different things on a Sunday, so I hope I can share this in the next couple of days. And yeah, I hope you're well, and I hope you're finding moments for you. Maybe you have time to check out my other pages, which is a Patreon. I have an Etsy shop with other things than my zines in it, but I would be really glad for your visit there. I'm gonna start up my newsletter again, so feel free to register. And just in general, I'm happy for any support. So if you can support me, I'd love that. And yeah, open for stash rent. Sign up for our annual countdown calendar swap, considering a person directly and personalizing a countdown for them and their occasion. Much love to you from me here in Berlin. Bye bye, and bye bye from Aggie. Adieu. Ça va.
Bird on a tree, I'm just sitting here. I got time, it's clear to see. From up here, the world seems small. We can sit together. It's so beautiful, you and me. We meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free. Take a step back to see the truth around you. distance you can tell. You and me were meant to be.